So, have you been watching the Serbia game, and what do you think about Nikola Jokic and Bogdan Bogdanovic's game?
Well, Jokic is one of my favorite players. I love watching him play. His skill, his decision making. Bogdanovich has also been one of my favorite young players to watch because he plays the game without fear, and so I'm a huge fan of both of their games.
I had like a mountain in front of me. That man is so big. When I saw him in person and watched his clips, he was so dominant. I think the most dominant guy to ever play the game. He was a beast right there, but he cannot guard me. This is what Nikola Jokic said to a reporter after meeting Shaq for the first time. Not only did he recognize Shaq as the most dominant guy to ever play the game, but he's also extremely confident in his own abilities too, claiming that Shaq could not guard him either. Though Shaq, on the other hand, disagreed with Jokic's statement that he couldn't guard him. Over time, they've had many conversations and developed quite an interesting relationship. Jokic's rookie season also coincided with Kobe's final year in the league, but I don't think any other NBA legend gave him as much praise as Kobe did. They actually played against each other several times. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's talk about the first encounter Jokic had with Kobe and Shaq. How did they impact him when he first arrived to the NBA? December 22nd, 2015. It was a few days before Christmas. We saw a matchup between the Lakers, one of the worst teams in the NBA, versus the Nuggets, a young team that was in the beginning stages of rebuilding, still looking for their franchise cornerstone of the future. For those who don't remember, Kobe's final season was basically one big retirement tour. The Lakers were awful for the entire season, but it didn't really matter because everyone just wanted to see Kobe play, even if he was missing a boatload of shots. However, it wasn't just the fans either. In this game, a 20-year-old Nikola Jokic would meet and play against Kobe for the first time ever. And just like any other excited young player, he was pumped and wanted to prove something. Now, this was actually one of Kobe's better games of the season, as he dropped 31 points on 10 for 22 shooting. Jokic, on the other hand, came off the bench and recorded 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. That included 6 offensive rebounds too. Although the Lakers won the game, this performance by Jokic immediately caught Kobe's attention, and it was also one of his best games of his rookie year too. Prior to this, Kobe didn't have any idea who he was. In fact, most of the world had no idea who he was. He was just a 20-year-old rookie who got drafted with the 41st pick of the draft. You don't really expect much out of guys like that. In a locker room interview after the game, Kobe stated, "This kid is gonna be a problem. I don't know where he came from, but he's very skilled. I can see him becoming a star." Now, Kobe, he doesn't compliment everybody. If he says something like this, you know he's serious. And considering rarely anyone even knew who Jokic was at the time, this caught the attention of the media. I think one thing I've come to realize is that whenever Kobe predicts a player is going to be great, he's usually correct. Kobe has always been great at judging someone's potential, and what he saw in Jokic is something very few people noticed back in 2015. It also helps that everyone tuned into Lakers games to watch Kobe play his final season, so they also caught a glimpse of Jokic. A few years down the road in 2019, Kobe had already retired, but he was still a huge part of the NBA community. He saw Jokic play for the Serbian national team, and it caught his attention once again. Remember how he went on Twitter and started challenging all those players? Well, in one of them, he challenged Jokic to win MVP.
Joker! That kid is special.
MVP.
Not only did he fulfill the challenge, but he crushed it, winning MVP in back-to-back years. After his passing, Jokic had this to say about Kobe. He is not just a legend in the US, he is a legend across the world. The world lost a really huge person, a really huge role model, idol, everything. It's a huge loss for everybody. When you think about Kobe, it's no excuses. Nothing can put your mind off what you love to do. It's the Mamba mentality, for sure. Sadly, Kobe wasn't around to see Jokic claim his MVPs. but I'm sure he'd be as happy as anyone to see him succeed. Now, moving on to Shaq. The relationship between Jokic and Shaq has been wildly different. Unlike Kobe, Shaq saw firsthand how Jokic turned from a brash young player to arguably the best in the league in such a short time. Their first encounter happened right after Jokic got off a bus, actually. He was about to participate in the World vs. USA match at All-Star Weekend, and that's when he first met Shaq. And oh boy, he was in awe. This is the context of the quote I mentioned at the beginning of the video. In an interview, Jokic was asked to describe his first conversation with Shaq, and that's when he said he was in awe of Shaq's sheer physical presence, but he also believed Shaq could not guard him either. It was quite a bold claim for a young guy like him. Now, we all know Shaq is very critical on young players, especially centers, because he feels like they can never live up to their true potential. In the past, he's always been overly harsh on guys like Dwight Howard, Joel Embiid, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. Heck, remember when he used to put Roy Hibbert on blast every time he had a bad game on TNT? Shaq has always been harsh on centers who he feels like doesn't deserve the attention, like when he clowned Gobert's contract as well. Maybe there's some jealousy involved too. However, Shaq has never said anything negative about Jokic, even after Jokic claimed he couldn't guard him. Normally, you'd expect Shaq to be petty about a comment like that, but he wasn't. Instead, he made a reasonable analysis and stated, "Only way he would be able to score on me is in a pick-and-roll situation, because I'd probably have to help with Jamal Murray, which frees him up a little bit. If he's going down in the post, I don't want no help. If he shoots a jump hook over me, good shot." I mean, that's fair. Shaq also continued to say Jokic would give him problems out on the perimeter, because he isn't comfortable going out there. Just for Shaq to admit something like this, that's surprising. He even went on to call Jokic the, quote, Tim Duncan of big men. If you know how much Shaq respects Tim Duncan, this is a hell of a compliment. Over the years, Shaq's respect and admiration for Jokic continues to increase. In every situation, he supports him. When Markieff Morris hit Jokic with an elbow and then turned his back, Jokic hit him back. Shaq loved it. He completely supported what Jokic did. When Jokic was constantly frustrated about not getting any foul calls from refs, Shaq also had his back, saying, "Big guys play against little guys, we never gonna get the call. The ref's always gonna give the little guys the advantage." He even suggested that Jokic should just start knocking people out, which is kinda ridiculous. But if he plays more physically, then the little guys will back off of him, because they'll be scared. His lack of aggression early on was a huge criticism from Shaq, but over time, he got more and more physical. As the years went by, the banter between Shaq and Jokic have gone back and forth. Their friendship has grown along with their respect for each other. Shaq had also acknowledged that in terms of pure skill, Jokic has more in his arsenal than he's ever had. The passing, the smooth touch, the court vision, those are things that Shaq admitted he wished he had. Hopefully, their relationship will continue to blossom. Anyway, that's all folks. Jokic has garnered a ton of respect, not just from his peers, but from the greatest NBA legends of all time. For a center, his playstyle is unique and probably won't ever be replicated on this kind of level ever again. So we should cherish it while we still can. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.